back to the news. We take you to business news now. Chairman of the Colombo Stock Exchange reiterated their readiness to support the process of restructuring state-owned enterprises through a broader listing framework which allows SOEs to be listed in the Colombo stock market. Speaking at a media briefing organised by the CSE in Colombo, he also said that the Colombo Stock Exchange will lobby the government to use their platform in listing state-owned enterprises. Meanwhile, on domestic debt restructuring, the CSE Chairman is of the view that it will have a positive impact on the stock market.
There is uncertainty about local debt restructuring. How would it play in the stock market this year? I mean, if the debt restructured, whether it's local or not, how would it have an impact on the stock?
So I think a debt restructure more or less is a given in terms of foreign currency loans, and I think that we all know is going to happen. Now, when that happens, what component or what percentage of a haircut it is, we don't know. But I think that has been digested by market already. So I don't think that's really going to impact the investor sentiment positively or negatively, because it's, in my opinion, priced in. Domestic debt restructure, if it comes in, could possibly be positive to the market, because fixed income is the asset class that will get impacted, meaning government securities would have that haircut. So I don't really see a negative impact of a domestic debt restructure on the Colombo Stock Exchange. It might actually end up being slightly positive, because you might have investors saying, I'll move into asset class that doesn't have a haircut as opposed to being an asset class that has. That's my personal view.
As part of restructuring state-owned enterprises, the government has initiated a process to combine all state holdings it has into one entity with objective of restructuring. Can you perhaps expand on what, if you had any engagement with the government on the role the CSE can play in SOE reform, and also perhaps comment about how the establishment of an entity that holds all these state-owned stakes might play a role through the public markets?
I think we are readying ourselves to facilitate that process. The Colombo Stock Exchange is a platform to list companies and to raise capital, and we are ready to do that for SOEs as well. As part of that initiative, what we are doing is looking at a broader listing framework that can enable the SOEs to list, because the listing rules are fairly strict on certain governance and compliance factors that may not ideally suit the SOE framework structure that exists today. So we are now, with the regulator, drawing up a framework that would allow SOE listings to happen. Whether the government uses that platform to ultimately list these SOEs is a decision for them to make. But we would lobby for them to use the Colombo Stock Exchange. And I think if you look back in the past, some of the state-owned enterprises that have been privatized or minority or majority stakes sold out were done through the Colombo Stock Exchange. So we think this is the best platform that is currently available for that reform process. Specifically, if you're going to list the entity and then look at sort of, selling a stake out to investors. We also believe that using the Colombo Stock Exchange would give investor confidence, because that's the infrastructure that is transparent, it is governed by regulations, and is ready to be used. But we hope that the government would see it that way and use it, because that's something that I think would develop capital markets to a great extent.